everybody, time for your Week 8 overview in English 101. Here's your to-do list. You'll notice everything is due on Sunday today, but please don't leave it till the last minute. You have a good little list of things to do here. Please read all of Chapter 7 in the Academic Writer. That's pages 177 through 223. And those pages will really give you some solid, helpful advice on the project that we're working on right now, which is your research paper. And I'll go over that in a little more detail in just a minute. By the end of the week, you also need to have found 2 sources for the annotated bibliography, which you're going to hand in week 10. So the annotated bibliography is not due, but you need to start collecting the sources for that. And that actually is your discussion post for this week. You have 3 library tutorial videos to watch. Well, actually, the first one is just taking you to the research homepage of the library, which I'll show you in a minute. And then you have tutorials on evaluating your sources, making sure that the sources you choose are credible and reliable, and one on how to search. Now, I know you're all experts on searching, especially Google, but academic searching online is it's a little more nuanced. And so there are some really great skills and techniques that you can glean from that particular tutorial. And then by the end of the week, you'll complete Lesson 3.2 discussion post and be thinking ahead for your annotated bibliography. If you have not read the instructions for that, please do that. You have to go back a couple of weeks in the modules to find the link to that. Make sure you understand what you're going to be doing for the annotated bib, and keep in mind that you'll be gathering 4 sources for the bibliography. Now, you can use more than 4 sources for your paper, by all means, but there must be a minimum of 4 for your annotated bib. Here's that search homepage for the library. So if you follow that link there that I showed you before, it will take you to this page. And, actually it looks a little plain, but if you really start looking there, you'll see it's a gold mine of information. And I want to draw your attention to those 2 little buttons up in the top right-hand corner, the Ask Us or the Chat. If you click on that chat button, it will literally, during regular library hours, it will connect you with a research librarian. And so if you have a specific question about how to find a source, or what sources are available, or where would be a good place to look for a source on a particular topic, it will connect you with a real live person, and they will do everything they can to help you out. And then all those links at the bottom give you very specific information on exactly how to do this entire research process, finding sources, evaluating sources, and then once you find a source, how do you work with it in order to put it into a research paper. I wanted to just give you a little bit of a heads up about what's in your reading this week. I really need to emphasize how important the information in the textbook is in this entirely online class, because I can't stand up in front of you in a class. We can't do, discussions face-to-face or talk this over. Really think about the textbook. If you can imagine it being in my voice, okay? That textbook has all the things that I would say to you if I could actually see you face-to-face. And so that's why it's so important, because we can't meet face-to-face. You've really got to do those readings. And this is a very crucial chapter for this particular project. So a few of the things that we'll cover is how to choose your topic. And all of you have a topic now, but how to narrow your focus, how to choose what exactly you want to research regarding that topic, how to find reliable sources, how to consider multiple perspectives. Remember earlier I mentioned that this is not an opportunity to stand on a soapbox. In other words, choose a topic that you feel strongly about and then go out and just find 4 sources that confirm your particular perspective, okay? We call that cherry picking. So this is an opportunity to come up with a question about something that you're genuinely interested in, and then to look at all of the different perspectives. And it doesn't mean you have to come up, you're not looking for like the one solid truth about all of these things. But what you're doing is coming up with a more global or diverse perspective on it to make sure you haven't left out any important voices. How do you organize your research? That's also in this chapter. And then there's that familiar word from our last project, synthesizing. Remember, that means bringing all sorts of information together and sort of stirring it up. And what do you come out with? Something original and new, something different from the original sources. I wanted to go over this briefly. This is also in your textbook. Keep this in mind. There are 3 and only 3 things that you can do with information in pretty much every academic paper. The first one is you can quote information, which means you use the exact wording that comes out of the article. Sometimes you're actually quoting a person. Maybe these words came out of a person's mouth. More often than not, you're simply quoting word for word information that is in an article, and you're inserting that into your own piece of writing. You can paraphrase, which means you're taking the ideas or concepts out of an article or a book or a video, but you're completely rewording them in your own words. So it really sounds like what you would say maybe if you're telling your friends or your teacher or parents about what's in this article. The last one is to summarize. And a lot of you did that very well in your last paper. To summarize means to pull out or extract the main ideas, the main concepts from maybe a chapter or a section or an article, and then to concisely restate those main points in your own words. So you see, summarize and paraphrase are both in your own words, but they have slightly different, they look slightly different in your paper. And your textbook gives you some good examples so you can really understand the difference between those 2 things. In your textbook on page 206, there's a great diagram that will help you figure out which of those would be the best technique to use in certain situations. I also wanted to bring this to your attention. This is also part of that chapter. It gives you a great overview of how you actually structure a paragraph. And remember, your paper is made up of many, many paragraphs. Each paragraph is devoted to one small aspect of the topic that you are researching. So your paragraph opens with a transition or an introductory sentence that guides your readers into the topic of that particular paragraph. And then the body of the paragraph is where you present your evidence. Okay, so maybe the first 1 or 2 sentences is making a claim about something, and then you have to support that claim with good evidence. And that's where you can either quote, paraphrase, or summarize. But you can't leave it at that. So one of the rules is don't ever end a paragraph with a quote, because really you're just kind of dumping that out there for your readers to try and figure out what it means. Every time you use a quote or any information, make sure that you explain what does it mean, how is it connected to your topic, how does it support your topic. Never expect your readers to do all the heavy lifting. It's really up to you to make these things clear. All right, so lots of great stuff to work on. And your discussion for this week. Now, there's no peer response or peer review, so all you have to do is just post this by the end of the week. And this is an exercise to really help you think about your sources. So by Sunday, I'm sorry it says Wednesday there, mentally erase that. By Sunday, post the answers to those 8 prompts with each of the 2 sources that you have found. So by the end of the week, you will have found 2 sources that pertain to your topic. And for each of those sources, you're going to go through this exercise of answering all 8 of those prompts. Okay, so you can see by the end of that exercise, you're going to have a really good, solid idea of what these sources, how they relate to your topic and how credible they are. One last thing before I sign off. This is midterm week. Your midterm grades will be coming out. I have to post those by Tuesday this week. Because we are working on a portfolio system, I described that at the very beginning of the semester, but I'm going to very quickly remind you one more time. All of these papers that you are writing, you're working on these, you're doing your rough drafts, you're revising them, but you have one more chance at the end of the semester, because that's when you're going to be putting your portfolio together. You're going to be choosing 3 of your papers, doing another pretty substantial revision, and that portfolio is worth 50% of your grade. So if you have been not terribly happy with maybe how you've done on these papers so far, don't worry. It's all part of the process. And you have up until the end of the semester to really get these looking great. Because of that, if you are doing everything you need to do in this class, if you've been posting everything by the deadlines, you've really been putting in the required amount of effort, you'll see that you get an X for midterms. And all that means is, great, good job, keep doing exactly what you're doing. If you're falling behind, if you're having some difficulties, if you haven't been posting the assignments and so on, you actually will see a letter grade there, and it will be C- or below. And all that means is there's a little bit of work that you need to do. Okay, so I would suggest if you see that in your midterm grades, get together with me. Let's talk about it. Let's see what you need to do to pull that grade up to what you want it to be. All right? So just keep that in the back of your mind. Chat office hours this Monday will be from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Okay, so a little bit of a change. They're going to be in the afternoon. Remember, you can easily contact me using the Canvas inbox, or if you have a question, post it in the Ask the Instructor discussion forum, and that way other people can benefit from it. All right, so I hope you are getting excited about digging into a topic that you are really interested in, maybe even passionate about, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what sorts of sources and research questions that you come up with. All right, have a great week.